Welcome to the YouTube studio at the Munich Security Conference. I'm Dr. Adanna Steinacker, and I am joined by Honorable Neema Lugangira, who is a Member of Parliament of Tanzania. It's very lovely to have you here, Neema.
Thank you so much for me to be here. It's exciting.
Amazing. So, as a Member of Parliament in Tanzania, you have a successful track record of pushing both legislative and foreign policies in your country. So, I'd like to start with your motivation for going into politics and also the motivation for specifically pushing initiatives to empower more women to come into politics. So what's that story like?
So basically, the story goes, a few years back when I've been working in policy advocacy for over a decade in a number of sectors, like starting from the extractive sector all the way to the agriculture sector. And throughout this process, one, I came to understand the amount of power and opportunity that legislators have to create change. But then second, I realized the same level of power and opportunity for people with leadership within the political parties. So as a policy advocate, I first got into politics through our political party, Chama cha Mapinduzi, CCM. We have a women's wing.
Okay.
So in 2017, I vied to get into leadership in the women's wing, and I managed to get into the highest level, the central committee of the women's wing.
Amazing.
So while there, one of the things that I've been pushing for was for nutrition.
Yes.
And oftentimes when you're talking about nutrition, with politicians, it's like, we don't have hunger, we have food. Why are you talking about nutrition?
Yeah.
So I came to learn that if you want something to be taken on board by all politicians, it needs to be in the manifesto. So in 2020, even though I'm from the CCM party, through my NGO called Agri Thamani, we managed to advocate 3 political parties, CCM and 2 opposition parties, to prioritize nutrition in the election manifesto.
Amazing.
And that was successful. So in that process, a lot of people that I were meeting, they're like, you know what, you should get into politics. You'll be good at it.
To influence change
to
from
influence
the
change now
inside.
from the house.
Yeah.
Then so it was like a natural transition for me to get into the house. And my process of getting into politics, all the way within the party, and then for the parliamentary seats, I came to see how much work had been done prior on making the political landscape a bit more conducive for us.
Okay.
But then once I was inside, I came to see that more work also needs to be done.
Yeah.
Because if we want to get to 50-50, we need to make the environment even more conducive.
Yes.
But then we also need to address challenges that are currently blocking women
from
going in.
Yeah.
So that's how it all happened.
Actually, so that's the next bridge to the conversation, because a lot of the initiatives that you've championed is nutrition, digital growth, but also gender equality. So did you have any role models that inspired you to decide to run for a seat in parliament?
So to me, like, my biggest drive was to be part of change. It's like I'm a natural change agent, to see what can I do to contribute towards change. So I have a number of people and women who inspire me, both within Tanzania and outside Tanzania. And I try and emulate, the way in which different women are. But I've also seen, like, members of parliament from Tanzania, congresswomen, MPs from the UK, EU, and other African countries.
Yeah.
The amount of impact that they can create from that seat, from just being one person, and the trickle, the domino effects you can have from an initiative that you take.
Okay, so since coming in and then realizing that you need to change the landscape to make it more conducive for women, what has that process looked like? Has there been any specific initiatives that motivate women?
Yeah, so first of all, like, Tanzania, we are at a very unique stage right now, whereby we have the only female president and head of state, Her Excellency President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan. And when she came into power, the first thing that she did is she wanted to kind of review and strengthen our democracy, our multi-partism democracy in Tanzania. So she formed a task force, and this presidential task force worked for like a year, analyzing different aspects of our multi-partism democracy. And through that, I saw a window that we can push for some of the election and political party acts to come into parliament so that they can be reviewed.
Yeah.
If they will be reviewed on other issues to strengthen the multi-partism democracy, then that can be a window for us to also use that opportunity to strengthen
The
the
gender
gender
perspective, yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
So push forward last year, November, the government brought into the parliament 3 bills related to the election and political party. And in the last 2 years or so in Parliament, I had created women in parliamentary group,
Oh, wow,
which has
okay.
male MPs and female MPs.
Good,
And we are
because-
trying to review the laws and to push these things. And our speaker, Honorable Dr. Tulia Axon, has been very supportive throughout the process. And coincidentally, literally about just 2 weeks ago, we managed to pass the 3 bills. But in
Amazing.
our national election bill, I think Tanzania is set, once the president signs and puts the bills into law, we're probably going to be the first African country to recognize gender-based violence in election as an electoral offense.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That is incredible.
Yes, because
That could be one of the barriers that prevents women from coming into
I'm telling you,
politics, right?
you may think that it's not bad, but a lot of women just stay away from politics because of their abuse. And these days with the online abuse, it's even worse. You find that women parliamentarians opt to not be online just to protect themselves.
Yeah.
But the impact of not being online, it means we are dimming our own light in terms of visibility. And if we're not visible, then it creates that public perception that women leaders don't perform as our male counterparts.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, women leaders do incredible amount of work.
No doubt about
Yeah.
that. No doubt. And that is really influencing change on a policy level.
Yes.
So that way, exactly, putting the gender-based violence, recognizing it as a crime, and that
Yes.
there will be
Yes.
impunity for perpetrators.
And this
that is a
actually
big motivation.
protects women who are running, but also women as voters.
Okay.
Also women as voters, because sometimes, if one sees that you're probably leaning towards this candidate, they can also do all kinds of things to make the woman even feel like not safe to go and cast their votes.
Yeah.
So the fact that now GBV is an electoral offense, it means even the speed at which the issues will be dealt with will be handled differently.
Yeah, and you said this just passed 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Okay. So, well, congratulations. And I look forward
Thank
to
you.
seeing that actually transform. I look forward to seeing how that translates into more women in positions of power.
We are also looking forward to that.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you're also a member of the Munich Security Conference Women's Parliamentary Program,
Yes.
which is a network that brings together female global decision makers to talk about foreign security development policy. How do you believe your experience in this network is going to influence foreign policy back in your country?
I think one of the first things, I would really like to thank the Munich Security Conference for first recognizing that in the space of foreign security and development policy, especially on global discussions, the representation of women is lower.
Yeah.
And for them to make a deliberate action to see how to bring more women on board, but not only just women from the global north, also picking, and giving an opportunity for us who are coming from developing
Global
countries,
South,
from the global south, that opportunity of our voices to be heard on this global landscape.
Yeah.
Earlier you mentioned that I'm pushing some of the things I'm pushing is nutrition and food systems. Just the other day here at the Munich Security Conference, the MSC launched a food security task force, which is incredible because oftentimes we don't realize that the element of food can have a national security issue.
Yeah.
If you're depending on a country for all your food imports, or you're depending on one or two companies for your seed inputs,
Yeah.
and something happens, that's a national security issue.
Emergency,
So that's really good. And then the other exciting thing that I witnessed here was the signing of the Artificial Intelligence Elections Accord, whereby the big tech companies are committing towards safe use of artificial intelligence,
Yes.
which is a huge problem on election,
Yeah.
but more so it creates an unfortunate opportunity for more online abuse for women who are running for office. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So a lot is going to come out of
Yes.
that. And then, but I mean, I know that we've briefly touched about, we've briefly touched on gender inclusivity, bringing more women into this space. Do you believe that a network like this also has the potential to encourage more women in foreign policy?
I think I cannot emphasize that enough because I'll give a very quick example on issue of community health. I come from a border region, Kagera. We border Rwanda, Burundi, and Uganda. And oftentimes, whenever there's an outbreak, health-related outbreak, our region is one of the first regions that get hit. And because we're a peripheral region, it's especially like even during COVID, it showed the importance of if you're strengthening your health system, you can have an absolutely great global health system.
Yeah.
But if national health systems are not as strong, and then national health systems, if peripheral regions' health systems are not strong, then no one is safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in these discussions, now I think through this opportunity of being part of this MSC Women Parliamentarians Network for Foreign and Security Policy for Development, it means I suddenly have an opportunity now to discuss these issues with global leaders who make those decisions.
Exactly,
That
yeah.
when you're making development programs for Global South, for developing countries, remember peripheral regions, remember community health systems, like that connection.
Yeah.
And
But it's not so much remembering it, but it's also getting the voices of the people who are locally
now at the
on ground,
moment, maybe that discussion doesn't happen on the table because there's no one from there. There's no one who has that experience.
Yeah.
So by us being, kind of MSC is kind of creating a seat for us at the table.
Yes.
That means we can have these conversations.
Yes.
And when more women see the power and the impact that is, they're going to feel like, actually, you know what? This in this foreign and security policy landscape,
have a
my
voice.
voice is
I have a
needed,
voice,
and
yeah.
women can create an impact
Yeah.
because we think of things differently
Of
and we
course.
focus on things that actually matter to the people.
But also even bringing that gender perspective,
Yes.
right? Because we know the pain point, we
Yes.
have the experience, so
Yes.
that perspective
Yes.
really matters.
For example, if there is conflict in countries, we'll be talking about humanitarian aid in terms of food, but I would probably be at the table and ask, hang on, do we have proper supply of sanitary pads for women?
Exactly.
These are basic things that generally maybe would not be at the table.
Reproductive health,
With reproductive
sexual
health.
Yeah.
How will that be considered?
Yeah.
So
Education, because we're the more vulnerable
Yes.
population with children as well. So having that perspective, that
Yes.
voice,
Yeah.
really, really matters. I agree. So, with the elections coming up, what do you hope to see from a representation perspective, gender perspective, diverse voices? What do you hope to see in the political landscape in the next?
So first of
couple of
all,
years?
it's very exciting that our president, Her Excellency President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, is going to be running for the first time.
Yes.
Because she came into office following
As vice president,
as vice president.
Yeah.
So it's exciting to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
And touch wood, I think she's going to win with a landslide. So alongside that, I'm pretty excited to see the percentage of women representation in the elected seats, both at local government level and in parliament, increasing. But more so, it will be really interesting to see the number of women that come forward. There's a
Yes.
difference coming forward and winning.
Yeah.
But at least we need to
We
get
have that
more women
experience,
to come forward.
To have a chance.
To have a chance,
Yes.
exactly.
And I think, is it Tanzania you have a 30% quota that has seats that has to be filled?
We have a reserved quota system in parliament, 30%.
Yeah.
So we're right now at about 37, about 37 point something percent women parliamentarians. And if
Amazing.
we want this to get 50%, it means women need to go to constituents.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that the bills that we recently passed, we're hoping that they'll be able to create that opportunity.
Yeah.
But we have local government elections this year, so we'll test it out.
Yeah.
And then see and get ready for next year. But I think the other thing that I would also like to quickly say is it's really important for women when they're getting into leadership to figure out what are they about. What do they want to stand for? Like, yes, as a member of parliament, for example, you have to cut across all issues.
Yes.
But you need to have your personal priority issues that you can be championing, advocating,
Yeah.
and over time
Yeah.
create that, your personal kind of personal positioning in those areas.
Yeah.
So it's very important for women to be like, okay, you want to get into politics, but what are you about?
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
over time, by advocating for
Yes.
that, you will get the attention of what is
Yes.
important. Because earlier you mentioned trying to push the recognition of nutrition as
Yes.
an important
Yes.
element of government. So I suppose if everyone comes with their personal priorities, suddenly everything is important and prioritized.
And you'll find that with women, all the issues that we'll be pushing forward are issues that generally don't get the same recognition. And by doing that, you can really contribute towards community development.
Yeah.
And that's where the majority of the people are.
Of course,
Yeah.
of course. So what's the next step for you in your political career?
Next
Too
step
early to
right
tell?
now is hopefully do my best in these remaining 2 years so that my party and the people who voted for me see that I'm worthy for this second term.
Yeah.
But at the same time, better educate myself on the different dynamics of foreign and security policy global wise, and to see how that can be aligned into national policies, but also influencing even development aid, the finance, development financing that takes place, and understanding the dynamics, because I think in everything that we're doing, foreign relations are key.
Yeah.
So I believe by being part of this MSC network, it will give me the opportunity to widen my own network, and then see how to use that network to contribute towards the development of my country.
Amazing. And I have no doubt that by doing that, you will inspire the younger generation
Yes.
of the next women leaders.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Neema.
Thank you so much for having me, and welcome to Tanzania.
Yeah, yes, I am actually going to be in Tanzania in July.
Amazing.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.